Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So we're back again with another Alliance War video. Now this is Alliance War 6 in season 31, and New Nations going up against ASR, my old alliance. So shout out to the guys in there. And by the time I started fighting, we can see that we already had a somewhat comfortable lead, even though the war turned out to be, tighter than that. Courtesy to some very interesting fights. And spoiler alert, I actually do get KO'd in this fight as well, but I don't feel too bad about it because I did everything as I was instructed to do, and I just generally don't believe that it was the best matchup, or at the very least, if you do take that fight, then you need to go absolutely ham on all of the offensive masteries and go with a ridiculously aggro mastery setup to make sure that you can finish that fight as quickly as possible. But we're going to get to that. So I am starting on lane 2 in section 1, as I often do, and the reason for that is because Thing in general there is just absolutely amazing. Now against the Toad, I reckon I could have still used the Thing, but it would be trickier. I also could have quaked this fight probably, but since it is Toad, and the Toad is a mutant champion that likes his prowess buffs and regeneration and all that other good stuff, well, we have Nimrod for that. So Nimrod is gonna make quite quick work of this Toad, so obviously I still do want to watch out what combos I throw. So start with a heavy attack, and then I'm gonna go in kind of relatively carefully with the medium, light, medium. Now I have several lights left, but I do choose to activate my special attack, and we can see here that I am already getting rid of the prowesses, inflicting shock, and Nimrod is doing his job. There will be actually one slight complication in this fight with Nimrod, because once Toad is going to use his special attack now, we're going to be inflicting power drain on him, which is something I don't want in this matchup in particular, because unless Toad gains his power, I can't gain my power. So that power drain, is slightly hindering me here. So I do need to be a bit more careful. I probably should have just been more aggressive, but I figured if I'm going to give him a couple of Furies, it's not going to be the end of the world, and there I end up finishing off the fight with a special attack. Still very straightforward fight with Nimrod, nothing too crazy. And now it's going to be Thing, mirror match, Thing versus Thing. And this is also very straightforward fight where I just need to keep an eye on his rock stacks. But thanks to Power Focus 1, it is significantly easier to do, because any 5-hit combo basically gives him like a full bar of power. I don't have much to worry about that basically after this point in fight. I can just go in, do 5-hit combos, and that is it. He will always have at least 1 bar of power. So I can do 3 combos, I need to wait out the special attack if he hasn't thrown it by then, and that's it. So even managing these rock stacks in this fight is very easy thanks to that Power Focus 1, because as we can see here, every single combo I throw, he pretty much has a full bar of power, and that entire mechanic just isn't giving me any trouble. And obviously as longer the fight goes, the more fury buffs he gets, and that just makes it safer for Thing, because every contact that I make with opposing Thing gives me protection, and I have 0 problems in this fight. Only thing I kind of have to look at is brute force, but if I have protection up, brute force isn't doing any damage to me either. It's only at those times when he's being super liberal with his special attacks and I don't kind of naturally sneak in a parry. Like we could see here, I lost like 4% of my health because of that brute force, but I think that's about the only time in this fight when that happens, because all the other time, I either have protection on or I manage to hit him within the time limit. And yeah, so it's not the quickest fight, but Thing is definitely one of the safest options for this section too. Now the problem fight that I do end up getting KO'd at is this Mojo. I was actually sent a video, Swedish war video, I think, where he also got KO'd against this Mojo with the Thing, but that was because he made a mistake twice, where he had gained dexterity buff on himself and he striked Mojo whilst the death field or whatever it's called was active, and he got the degen. And obviously, if you don't have protection active and Mojo has 90 furies, that degen's going to be insane. And so I was fully well aware of that, not to trigger that degen on myself by, you know, any means. So play very conservatively and make sure I do not get that degen. Also, don't get hit, because if I get hit, I will gain Unstoppable, which will expire, which will also place the degen on me. So the entire point of this fight is I do not want a single buff on me. Tank all the special attacks. I don't have to worry about that, because protection is always going to be active, like, you know, past a certain point in the fight, because I'm going to be triggering it on every single hit. Now, the problem in this fight is that Mojo is going to get up to 5 charges. The Thing is not finishing fight quickly enough, because, you know, Thing isn't really the highest damage dealing champion. Now, I also made sure to never trigger Masochism node by any means, not to give, you know, him any extra healing. So I made sure the entire fight that, you know, I'm doing as much damage as I can with the Thing. I'm not ever triggering Masochism, and I'm not letting any buffs expire on me. So I'm kind of so far doing it all by the textbook pretty much. The problem is when he's going to get up to 5 of his charges, and he's going to start putting buffs on me by himself. That is what is going to cause, like, the issue there, because the moment my protection is going to go inactive, I'm going to be taking insane degen damage, and that's going to be crazy. We're going to see that. So we can see that the fight that this far has gone smooth, but he's getting quite lucky with the prompts that he can easily complete. Like, I can't stop Mojo from dashing back, for instance. And here, stun the champion, so I'm purposely trying my best not to stun him. And I'm just trying to pay attention. There, that parry was accidental, and he's at 4 charges. And as soon as he's going to gain 5th one, that's basically going to be pretty much it. We can see I'm still at 87% health. I'm very safe. He's at 28%. But this is like the really spicy bit of the fight. I already gained a hater, and that degen, as soon as I will not have protection active, is going to deal insane amount of damage in that single tick there. Luckily, I got protection re-triggered for the remainder of the duration. I only took 1 tick. But here in the end, here is the finish. Here is the finish of that. So I'm going to show that again. So I revived and I went back in there and I finished the fight. But in general, I just don't think it is like the best matchup for this fight. Or at the very least, you know, you definitely need Liquid Courage, Double Edge, and Super Aggro Mastery setup to be able to finish this fight out as quickly as possible. So we're going to see that here the degeneration triggers, finish my combo, and Mojo does not attack me back. Mojo does not attack me. He doesn't dash in. He actually kind of holds his block there. And we can see that I'm taking 13,352 per tick. And within 3 ticks, all of my health is gone. And yeah, unfortunately, I died with Mojo, who was left at like 15% health. But it happens. Again, as I said, I don't feel overly horrible about this death. I didn't necessarily make any kind of like major mistake myself. I didn't trigger Dex and then attacked him when I shouldn't have. And I didn't get hit to trigger the Unstoppable. But still, a death is a death. You know, it sucks. It's the 2nd death I have this season, which is too many. Now, next up in section 2, I have to deal with this Footloose kinetic reactor, Kitty Pryde, and I'm going to be using Quake for this fight. And Quake is good option here, I want to say, but because I can't reduce Kitty Pryde's ability accuracy, Kitty Pryde is going to be getting prowesses every time I'm stunning her with my aftershocks. So that means after 3 sets of aftershocks, she will be turning herself invisible whenever she dashes forward. And that is effectively just going to extend the fight, because whilst she is going to be phasing, I will not be able to do any damage to her, obviously, as her ability. Now, the fact that she phases, you know, doesn't really give much of an issue to Quake, but if she happens to be phased at a time when my aftershocks would expire, obviously that entire set of aftershocks has been kind of nullified and has gone to waste, as we can see here. Pretty much no damage dealt there for like a duration of that. So as a result, this fight is, you know, significantly longer than it should have been because of that. But other than that, you know, it wasn't anything too crazy. Eventually she, you know, we catch those moments when aftershocks expire, she isn't phased, and it's all good. And then the next fight against Cersei is Quake as well, and, you know, there's nothing special at all in that fight. We're keeping, you know, pretty much a clean yellow bar for most of the fight, and finish with the full yellow bar there as well. No major mistakes there. Next up, we have this Apocalypse with Hard Knock Life, passively special, all the other good stuff. And I'm going to be taking the Professor X afterwards as well. So I'm putting on Tech Boost to give myself a bit more power back, even though the Tech Boosts are not really very effective with Nimrod, because, well, most of the damage that you do with Nimrod comes from like secondary sources, burst damage or shock and things like that. And, you know, that doesn't count towards the power boost. So I'm activating the Power Start 1, because why not? I have some couple of those expiring in a few days anyways, and still 4 weeks of compensation unclaimed in mail. So there's absolutely no reason not to use those boosts. And here it's going to be fairly straightforward. I'm going to get to a level 2, which I'm going to use. But before I do that, I want to make sure that I have 10 charges. So I get both effects. So I go in my Titan Eradicate mode. I think it's called Eradicate mode. And we can see that one level 2 that took APOC down to like 32%. And then I'm just going to eat up that special and block, get rid of the provinces that he gained, and finish. Well, actually, I thought I'm going to be at level 2 there, but I dropped that special tiny bit too early, but it's all good, because obviously we're going to quickly build up to another level 2 to finish off this fight. There's not much to it, really. There's 2 provinces that we're going to take away very quickly, and APOC is absolutely destroyed. Very safe, very straightforward matchup. Next up, Professor X, and this fight's going to go quite well also. Not going to be any major issues. I think I do get clipped at some point, but I land intercept very early on in the fight, so I'm doing more damage than I normally would. Professor X is high ground defender, but honestly in this fight I didn't even pay too much attention to that. Here I do get clapped with a combo, but again, not the biggest problem. So I tried to get in another intercept before I drop my level 2. And obviously now Professor X has 100 charges, so he has special locked me, which is quite annoying. But as soon as he's going to be out of it, and as soon as I'm reached 10 charges now, I can just go in for a level 2 whilst the Fury's still active. And that single level 2 all but finishes that Professor X. Is at like 1% health here. I was trying to use special attack, but I couldn't. It didn't let me. And another hit, and that is it. And that's all. That's all for the war here. That was it for my contribution. Actually, well, had a fair amount of fights, some quite interesting ones. Obviously, Nimrod's still absolutely killing it. And we are about to win this war. We have a couple of KO lead, and we are ahead in exploration. It's technically still not over, I think, for next hour or so. But we are set to take a win on this one, which is obviously very good for the season overall. And yeah, that is it for this war against ASR. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and let me know what you guys think. See ya. Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information about